So we're going to start with NFL free agency that is buzzing right now. And the big winners so far in NFL free agency, you guessed it, the Los Angeles Rams. Play my theme music. There we go. All right. Well, the Rams have made two significant moves. And we talked a lot about Trent McDuffie and what that means. And there was a lot of fans out there, analysts out there that maybe were saying, oh, do you give a guy who's primarily a slot corner, do you make him the highest paid cornerback in the National Football League? Do you give him that kind of deal? Well, my response to that was always yes. When it's your turn to get paid and you're a top 5 player at that position, you're going to get the bag. You're going to reset the market. But also, what did I say before they made this move? And I guarantee you it was the first person in the Rams universe that said that Trent McDuffie was going to get traded to the Rams, or that was my number one target for the Rams this offseason, right? But what I say, if you get Trent McDuffie, you have to get a boundary cornerback. You have to get a taller, primarily outside cornerback that can match up with bigger, more physical receivers in the National Football League. And they not only did that for a player that you could potentially say had a better year individually than Trent McDuffie in 2025, they did it with his own teammate in Jalen Watson. And the Rams now have two really good cornerbacks. They have one potentially elite and another one who, if everything breaks right, you could say, hey, if you get a little better ball skills, maybe end up with a couple more interceptions, where just first and foremost, that is an overrated statistic when it comes to evaluating cornerbacks, because the truth is when you force tight throws and you get interceptions, you stop getting targeted. But there's a world where next year, as good as Trent McDuffie is, Jalen Watson could have equally as good of a season potential. That's how good he is. And I got some more stuff on you for Jalen Watson, because yesterday we were doing the show and it was breaking news at the time. And my big takeaways from the Jalen Watson signing are, one, the Rams, they have gotten so much more physical in the secondary. You got really good coverage guys in Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, but also they're better tacklers. They're more physical, force fumbles, getting to the football. And these are two of the best tackling cornerbacks in the National Football League. Last season, guys like Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes, that wasn't their forte. Yes, they can do it in spaces and during certain reps, but these are two of the best tackling cornerbacks in the National Football League. And what this is going to allow the Rams to do, my second biggest takeaway, and after talking to some people yesterday, this is going to change how Chris Shule and the Rams play defense. You're going to see more sticky coverage. You're going to see less bend but don't break, cover 3, zone defense. I used to want to, I'd be watching a Rams game, of course, and the Rams would get a lead, and then all of a sudden, the opposing team would climb back in the game, because a lot of times you are having soft coverage, and the cornerbacks are 8 to 10 yards off the receiver. I want to throw my house in the middle of my street, because you want to see more of an aggressive style of defense. And this allows the Rams to have a player that can match up one-on-one, that can go and cover guys and the best receiver on the other team. Watson, he's going to press at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be jamming receivers. He has 32-inch arms. He's going to be disrupting receivers, rerouting them, stopping their rhythm. Some we just didn't see this Rams offense do, or this Rams defense do, against better offenses, more physical, higher level receivers last season. So the truth is, he's a better coverage guy than Witherspoon. He's more physical in run support, and it's a massive upgrade at the boundary corner spot. So I think what a lot of people don't understand about Jalen Watson is you look at just the overall production as far as the interceptions, right? And you look at the totality of his career, he has 3 interceptions in the regular season, 2 in the postseason, and those were big ones, but 3 interceptions in the regular season. And you say, well, hey, D-Mac, where are the interceptions come from? He's a really good quarterback, right? You don't look at the interceptions. You look at the forced tight window throws. And that gives you a really good indication on how physical and how good a cornerback is. And according to Next Gen Stats, Watson had the 5th best tight window rate forced by a cornerback since 2022. So we're not talking about one season. We're talking about multiple seasons. And his tight window throw rate is at 30.4%. And anytime you hear any of these stats, some more surface level, some deeper, some basic, some a little more nuanced, one way to kind of make them a little more contextualized for yourself to say, wait, does this actually mean something? Always look at who those stats are lumped in with. And at 30.4%, being top 5 in tight window rate for Jalen Watson, that puts him in the category with Sauce Gardner, who was first, Patrick Surtain, who was second, Joey Porter Jr., who was third, and Tyson Campbell, who was fourth. So he forces tight coverage. He also allowed the 8th lowest passer rating among cornerbacks last season. Last year, in the National Football League, for corners that played at least 400 snaps, his 69 passer rating allowed, that was 8th best for CBs. And hey, let's play that game I just told you, right? Who does he compare to in that category? Who was first? Patrick Surtain, Derek Stingley Jr. You had Kamari Lassiter. All of those guys are considered top corners. Watson, he gave up completions on just 59.3% of his targets, and he's also allowed just 1 touchdown pass in the last 2 years. In the last 2 seasons combined, Jalen Watson has been targeted 94 times. He's allowed just 55 receptions. He's only given up 1 touchdown in pass coverage. He's been fantastic in the red zone in his career. He's done a great job of limiting big plays over the top. And just to give you an idea of how good that is compared to what they currently had in the last couple of years, Kobe Durant, he gave up 8 touchdown passes. Emmanuel Forbes gave up 7. He's given up 1 in the last 2 years. That is how good. Kobe Durant, Forbes, just last season alone, he had 15 total. He's given up 1. He's also played for a team that has won a Super Bowl. And also, too, just kind of talking to people that know him a little bit, this is someone who has made something of his career that we just never knew what was going to happen with this guy. Like, he was just a complete afterthought. He was not on anyone's radar. Just to rewind a little bit, Watson isn't from California. He's from Georgia, but he did come out to California to play at Ventura College to start his career. He was at a community college. It's about 40 miles away from the Rams practice facility at Woodland Hills. And then he was supposed to go to USC. He was supposed to be a Trojan. He was supposed to go to USC. And you like that? You like the VDR? Got to bump the song, right?
Right on.
All right. Hey, let's get. He was supposed to go to USC, but he was academically ineligible, ends up at Washington State, spent 2 seasons there, and then was drafted in the 7th round. And how about this? In 2019, in between his time at Ventura and Washington State, my man was back at Augusta, Georgia, working at Wendy's. He was working at Wendy's, man, with the square patties and the milkshakes and the French fries. By the way, BDR, are you into putting your French fries in your Wendy's milkshake? Someone told me that was the business. I tried it. I gotta say, like, I keep those things separated. Are you into that?
Well, I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't even consume milkshakes. So that's not me.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I do like dipping my fries and stuff, but not milkshakes.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that. But yeah, the Rams have done a fantastic job. They have 2 really good to elite cornerbacks, and that really was their only glaring need. Now, the next thing we're going to do real quickly is we're going to grade every single offseason move by the Rams so far. I think you look at where they've really kind of done a lot of work is the secondary, and I think the Jalen Watson contract, it's an A. It absolutely is an A. Another thing, too, about that contract is it's a $51 million deal across 3 years, $34 million guaranteed, but they pushed the majority of that contract in the final 2 years. So for the upcoming season, it's at $7 million. So they've done that. So they have given themselves more financial flexibility to be able to make more moves this offseason. But I mean, for a starting cornerback of that caliber, this is the most money they've ever given a cornerback in free agency. Remember, Ramsey was a trade, then a signing. McDuffie, a trade, then a signing. Cortland Finnegan, they gave a pretty solid bag to, but it was like 5 years, $50 million, something in that range. And Trey White, they gave a 1 year, $10 million deal to a couple years ago. This is the most money they've ever spent. And it definitely is going to be a move and a couple of moves that are hopefully going to solidify a team that's going to, in their mind, win the Super Bowl next season. So that's an A. Next move, re-signing Cam Curl to a 3-year deal. I mean, what's not to love about this signing? He was one of the best safeties in the National Football League, and the Rams signed him to a deal worth $12 million per year. And his contract essentially is a 2-year deal as well, and that's an A. Next one, Tyler Higbee. They signed him to a 2-year deal. Wasn't a massive contributor last season, but still a 2-year deal where you're basically getting his leadership for $4 million per season. He's very big in that Rams locker room, in that tight ends room. I give it a B. I think there's still a world where the Rams can draft Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. And if they do that, having a veteran like Tyler Higbee around, and also when you look at this tight ends group, how much they've contributed, how important 13 personnel and 12 personnel is. Remember the Rams, that tight ends group, they contributed a lot in the red zone with guys like Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee, Davis Allen, Terrence Ferguson. And I still think that Kenyon Sadiq, he's definitely in the mix. Now, the Trent McDuffie one, I think this one, I'll give it an A-. Only reason I'll give it an A- is I think he has to earn that A grade. Only reason I give it an A- is because, yes, it was the move that they needed to make. And yes, his strengths and his flashes are extremely impressive. He blitzes, he tackles, he covers, he's tough. He brings a certain attitude to the Rams secondary. That's a lot of money. And just like we saw with Jalen Watson, this deal, it is a deal that you have to include that last year of his rookie contract. So it's $13.6 million for the upcoming season, and then the rest of that deal kicks in. So essentially it's $27.5 million per season. And I think the big kicker here for me is the fact that the Rams, even though they traded away one of their first round picks, it wasn't their highest first round pick. They kept a lot of bullets, and they kept their best bullet, and you didn't have to give up number 13. You gave number 29. Next one, Xavier Smith. It's only the tenders. So they tendered Xavier Smith, the receiver. By the way, Chargers re-signed a cornerback. We'll get into that. Xavier Smith, Justin Dedich, and Harrison Mevis. I think for me, Smith, yes, I did tweet out that he should never play for the Rams ever again. And I did get DM'd by members of his family that told me to delete it. And yes, I did delete it. Hey, there you go. If I tweet something about you or someone you know and you don't like what I said, if you DM me, I might delete it. I'm not trying to, I was a little harsh on that one. I'm not going to lie. I said Xavier Smith, after muffing that punt in the NFC title game that led to the Seahawks scoring and essentially lost that game for the Rams, I said that Xavier Smith should never play for the Rams again. Having said that, I was emotional. I was definitely caught in the moment. And at the same token, I'm here for a redemption arc. I'm here for him to get it back together. I'm here for him to get another opportunity. And at that price, you don't feel too bad about it. And then also Justin Dedich, he's a very quality backup at the guard spot. You need depth. Him and Mevis are definitely other good moves. You got Mevis. He missed one kick all season. He did. He was 51 for 52 in the regular season. And the best part is getting all these guys around $1 million. None of them is guaranteed. So it's kind of one of those things where there's no such thing as a bad $1 million contract that's not guaranteed for players that can help you and be a part of your 53-man roster. So even though the big takeaway on this is can Harrison Mevis be that guy? Because just the mere fact that his nickname is the thicker kicker makes me want him to be that guy. But my request for the Rams is don't touch him. Don't get him on a diet. Don't change his workout schedule. He needs to continue to be the thicker kicker. That's his aura. So don't mess with Harrison Mevis. And I'm very excited to see what it looks like for him during the first parts of the season. Is he going to grow into that role? And can he just make the makeables, right? We're not asking him to make 70-yard kicks, right? The Rams offense is going to be scoring points and they're going to be successful in the red zone. And yes, you need your kicker to be quality, but they don't need him to be the best in the league. They just need him to not be the worst in the league. Other one, they re-signed David Questenberry to a 1-year deal. I think this one is another one where it's all linked to the actual contract that he signed, a $1.5 million deal. It's a good bet by the Rams. Questenberry didn't play a lot last season, but he's someone that brings that versatility, low risk. He can play some swing tackle. So that's where the Rams are at. Now, the big question now is what is next for the Rams? And I think what's next for the Rams is addressing that wide receiver 3 spot. Who is going to be WR3 for the Rams? And do they go veteran route or do they address that in the draft? Because we know that Romeo Doubs, he could certainly be an option there. He's still just 25 years old, and him as a wide receiver 3 would be massive. We saw Mike Evans go to the 49ers, and we also know the Rams, they could still be in the mix for Mekhi Lemon or a Jordan Tyson. Could a Carnell Tate from Ohio State fall to the Rams? Had some issues. I mean, is there a world where he slips? I remember the reason why they got Aaron Donald is because he fell to them. He slipped. So they're going to have to address wide receiver 3. And then also you're going to have to get another cornerback too. I think you're going to draft a cornerback of the future. And then I think there's some depth pieces there. I think Kobe Durant at the right price makes sense. He knows the system. He knows the culture. He's had some success here. If he doesn't get bigger offers out there, maybe he comes back to the Rams. You've got Darion Kendrick is a possibility. Roger McCreary is a possibility. I don't think there's anyone that played. Of course, we know that Darius Williams, he retired. I don't think there's anyone out there that you can definitively say, hey, like they're under no consideration. So the Rams, they're the big winners this offseason so far. I think they're the clear-cut favorites to win the Super Bowl next season. You look at the Seahawks. How can you tell me that the Seahawks are better than the Rams right now? You can't, because the Seahawks lost Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet tore his ACL. You lost Kubiak to the Raiders. And that's why I think that was a great Super Bowl win for them. And yes, they're young. Yes, they still have a lot of talent. JSN's going nowhere, and Sam Darnold has a lot of confidence, and that defense still flying around. Leonard Williams and the rest of the 12s and the gang up there in Seattle. But on paper right now, I think this is the best Rams team ever constructed as it stands, just because I think on both sides of the ball is a lot of talent. I mean, look, that 2021 team, I look at that Aaron Donald team, and yeah, I think you make a case for sure that team was outstanding. But I still think they're not done. I still think when it's all said and done, this team's going to be absolutely explosive. And the Rams, they deserve all the hype. They deserve all the buzz this offseason for putting together a roster where they're all the way in for 2026 and 2027. All right.